Well, did you know that prior to 1947, diamonds were not the center stone of most bridal sets in America? In fact, only about 10% of the brides in America before that time had diamonds in their wedding sets. Now, after that, what happened? Well, in 1947, a little group called De Beers decided that they needed a new marketing campaign. And they came up with a beautiful tagline, "A diamond is forever." This is the original ad from the 1940s that they put out with that first tagline. Now, if you've noticed any advertising coming up for Valentine's Day, you've probably seen that tagline. It's been quite successful for them. Joe, we need one like that. Okay, there you go. We need one like that. So what happened? Besides De Beers coming out with their marketing, about the same time, 1919 about, a young man who came from a diamond cutting family in Antwerp decided he didn't want to do that. He was going to leave that family business and he was going to go to England and study engineering. He wanted to be an engineer. But when he got there, he found what he was attracted to was industrial diamond cutting and how diamonds could be used in industrial type of production. And you know, that's a big use of diamonds today. And so he began learning those skills, but also started to lean into this new pattern of diamond cutting in the gem family as well. And he created the current 58 facet cut pattern that we see on round, brilliant shaped diamonds today that gives them the sparkle and the fire that they have. So as I thought about this week, and our theme for this month, which is all the colors of love, and I thought, well, love is blind, right? Love is blind because love is God, and God doesn't necessarily see colors and differentiations and so forth, right? And I thought, how does this all work? You've got a colorless, clear white, or not white, but clear diamond, but it sends off color based on the light. And the way the pattern works is the light is reflected and refracted. So it bounces around inside of the stone to come out in all those different beautiful colors that are known in the nomenclature as fire. Now you may remember that I started out my career in the jewelry business, so was fascinated by diamonds and how they operated and how the light moved through them. But again, as I looked at this and wondering about how all the colors of love, and I thought about the 58 facets of the diamond and the reflection of the light and all of that stuff, and looking at color in our lives and how it affects us. Think about that. We usually don't think a lot about color. We think of blue sky, yellow sun, green grass, but what if that got rearranged? And it was yellow sky and blue grass and green sun. It'd be a little odd for us, wouldn't it? Because our brains are accustomed to seeing that color meaning a certain thing. If we see a piece of meat that's green, our brain is going to say, what? Don't touch that. That's probably not good, right? But what if it was good? What if it's just the color that's wrong? What if it's just the color? So as I continued to think about this, I ended up with God. Of course, where else would a minister go, right? I ended up with God. And my talk is God is all the colors of love. We have heard God is love. And it's been said that love so loved the world that it gave all. Love so loved the world that it gave all. Science of Mind tells us that love is the givingness of God to and through its creation. Love is the givingness of God. If we interchange the word love for God, does that get rid of some of the separation that we might feel from the word God? Yeah, because we have a human concept of love, don't we? Most of us have experienced it at some level, not the unconditional level usually of spirit, but we've experienced some form of love so we can begin to understand it as a presence, as a feeling, as not something outside of ourselves. It's something within us. So Ernest Holmes is the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living. He also wrote The Science of Mind that we teach from. And he says, we perceive that the universe is a thing of beauty, of love. I believe, Ernest believes, that the impulsion of the universe is love, and its propulsion is law, and the one balances the other. It is inconceivable that it could be otherwise. One is personal, and the other is impersonal. Well, that sums up his belief, but what does this mean to us? What does this mean to us? So I pulled it apart a little bit, and I looked at those two words, impulsion and propulsion. Impulsion, when you look that up, besides this beautiful statue that is down here at Westworld, the beautiful equestrian statue that's down there, yeah, it's called impulsion. And I thought that was a wonderful name for it. But it means the force or motion behind an action or process. The force or motive behind an action or process. Love is the impulsion of the universe. Love is the motive behind the universe. Think about that. Love is the motive. It is the desire to express in the universe. Holmes also said, it would seem to be a fundamental fact that love is the basic reality of life. This would in turn give rise to a firm conviction that God is love. God, creative intelligence, depends on its creation for expression. And the expression depends on God for its existence. Interconnected. Right? We are interconnected, interdependent. God could never stop creating or loving. Neither can the creation cease loving or expressing God without limiting its experience of the source of its existence, in which case it would gradually cease to be. It is in the mind of man that we find the only created thing which can consciously deprive itself of accepting God's love. And when this is done, the results can be disastrous. Now, we've probably been watching some news this week. We've probably seen some disastrous results or things that we might consider to be disastrous results. It's where we allow our unconscious beliefs, perhaps, of fear and limitation to begin to outpicture and create negative experiences in our lives. And it can be difficult to look around our world and believe that all is love. Yes? Yeah, it can be difficult to look around and believe that all is love. Maybe we're focused on analyzing effects. Anybody like to analyze the effects and make a spreadsheet and talk about what's going on? Yeah. Remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about our prayer treatment? We don't pray about the headache. Headache, 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 headache. Right? Creates more headache. When we analyze these facts and figures and notions and all this stuff, we're stuck in the problem. We're stuck in the effect. We're stuck in the stuff. What Holmes is suggesting to us is that we elevate into love, into the realm of love, into recognizing that the universe is love. And you're probably going, yeah, right. How could the universe be love in coronavirus? How could the universe be love in our political situation in Washington, whichever side of the aisle you're on? How could the universe be love in this diagnosis I've received? How could the universe be love? It's a wonderful question, isn't it? It's a wonderful question. Our work at the individual level is to be aware of our own judgment, which that one's easy to miss when we're in judgment. But when we can catch ourselves in the blame, that's the one, isn't it? When we can catch ourselves in the blame. Are we blaming the Chinese for the coronavirus? Are we blaming Washington for the effects of politics in our life? Are we blaming our local government for something? Are we blaming our spouse for something, the way that they make us feel? Are we blaming our boss for something and the way they make us feel? Right? When we can catch ourselves in that blame, we can recognize, whoops, where am I? Remember last month? I'm in Kingdom 1, aren't I? I'm a victim Anytime we blame anything outside of ourselves, we're in blame. And we also know that we can move our consciousness and move our awareness up into those higher realms of thought, those higher realms of being, the higher realms of realization by making those choices. When we can stay grounded in the belief that God is all there is and all is God, and remember that we humans have this wonderful choice and free will to make our decisions and our choices, and that is everybody, right? I get to choose, but I want you all to choose exactly like I choose, so then my world will be nice and peaceful and easy, right? Does life work that way? No. So wouldn't it seem that we'd be beating our heads against the wall if we thought it did? And we got angry and frustrated when it did? Yeah. So it seems there's a better way of responding to life from this higher consciousness than staying in our reactive states and that lower level kingdom one thinking and blaming. Holmes tells us that the only reason everything's not in chaos is because of this thing called law. Love and law, remember he said they balance each other out. It creates balance, and that's why we don't have total chaos. So let's talk about law. We've talked a little bit about love. Let's talk about law. What is it? Holmes calls it the propulsion of love. We know that spiritual law acts like physical laws. Doesn't discriminate, right? Works alike for everybody. Works the same way every time. We know that. The physical laws work that way. Gravity is gravity for everybody. Just like electricity works the same for everybody in the combination of colors. If we put purple, or if we put blue and red together, we get purple, right? Nancy Pelosi gets purple, Donald Trump gets purple. Everybody gets purple. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle that you're sitting on, does it? Everybody gets purple. Works the same. Same is true with, again, electricity and gravity, mathematics and everything. It works the same according to our beliefs. If I believe I can plug in my toaster, stick my fork in it, what's going to happen? I'm not going to get toast. I might get toasted, but I'm not going to get toast. I keep the metal out, I put the bread in, then I get toast. I'm using it in alignment with the law. I'm using it within alignment of the law. Law is the propulsion, the pushing forward of our thoughts into being, into form. Love is the impulsion or motive. Law is the propulsion or energy that moves it into being. Now this might sound Pollyanna, airy-fairy, whatever you want to call it, but it's how it works. Remember what I said about the blame and stuff. Everybody's not going to agree with us. Everybody's not going to do things the way we want them to do. There's 7 billion people on this planet. We've all got different ideas. We've all got choice. We're going to run into stuff. Don't you want a better way to deal with it? If this is a way that works, that's been proven to work, it seems that this would be a way that we would want to embrace. Seems it would be a way to embrace. Anybody ever heard of that little golf tournament that's going on here today? Just around the corner, a little mile away over there. Well, Ron and I were blessed to get tickets on Friday to go out, and we were on 18. And we were able to watch the golfers come in. And 18, if you're familiar with the course at all, is a big, long water shot. You have to go way over the lake. And, of course, the pros play from the furthest back tee, so they've got the longest stretch of water they've got to get over to make their shots. And it was interesting that when we first sat down, most of the golfers were landing right in front of us. And we were 2/3 of the way to the green, and they were landing right in front of us, right in the middle of the fairway, just beautiful. And then as the day went on, we began to notice that 2 out of 3 would land in the grass. 1 was going in sand, pretty consistently. 1 of the 3 players was going in the sand. And then 1 would go in the water. And then 2 would go in the sand. And then some would play sand trap to sand trap, missing the green. Some would get on the green. And it was just fascinating to watch and to consider these are all professionals at the top of their game, playing in one of the elite tournaments. What was going on? What was going on? as a not pro golfer, my mind gets in the way. I know my mind gets in the way. I may get in the tee box and think, I'm tired. I may get in the tee box and think, the ground is not exactly level. It's going to mess up my tee shot. I may be frustrated about the last shot that I just messed up, perhaps, didn't do my stellar work on. And I drag that past frustration into my current present moment, but I'm back there. Or maybe I'm projecting it into the next shot and thinking, that's a hard shot. I can't make it. It's going to be hard. I might go in the water. I'm always fascinated with water shots. There's a little par 3 that's got a lake. It's not very long, but I have to go over the water. It's not any longer than the last one that I just did in the fairway, but the water gets in my brain, right? And my mind allows me to put the ball in the water instead of on the green where it should go. It's all about the mind. It's all about the mind. Holmes reminds us that meditation is of inestimable value in your practical life. For it is here that you join the ideal to the real, receive inspiration for action and guidance toward accomplishment. I love that definition of meditation. Isn't that wonderful? Here that you join the ideal to the real, receive inspiration for action and guidance toward its accomplishment. It has been said that Tiger Woods' success early on in his career was a partial result of not only his training, but his meditation practice. His mother was a Buddhist, and taught him the meditation practice. So he had control of his mind on the golf course, where he did not allow those crazy thoughts like non-pro golfer has on the course to mess with him. And we saw his early career was fabulous. It was fabulous with his ability to keep himself focused on the course. So I think it's easier for most of us to understand law than it is love. Law is logical, predictable. We understand the physical laws, so we can have a good understanding of the universal laws. With love, most of us have experienced unconditional love at some point in our life. But most of us experience conditioned, don't we? Most of us experience conditioned. Our early elders, our teachers, our parents, and our training of us may have withheld love when we didn't exactly perform the way they wanted us to. Maybe not given us the appreciation, maybe not paid attention to us if we didn't have the good grades or didn't do the way that they wanted us to do, behave, pick up our room, whatever that might be. And maybe some of us haven't healed that. And maybe we take that into the rest of our relationships and we begin to build those walls of protection around ourselves, the bricks, as we call them, the bricks in the walls that we create around our hearts, or those ideas of conditioned love. We were talking in study group this week about how Spirit just flows through us. Just flows through us. It's the nature of it to do so. But many of us resist it, don't we? We resist because we believe that for some reason we need to control everything in our life. We need to control everything in our life and not allow Spirit to move through us, as us. Holmes reminds us that we must have a firm conviction that God is love, and an equally firm conviction that when we apply this principle of love to any human problem, the very words you speak in your meditation or prayer treatment will operate as law in the condition that confronts you. Your words operate as law in the condition that confronts you. You will neutralize or overcome everything that opposes it. Do we pray from love? Do we pray from fear? Do we pray from limitation? Oh God, please give me money because my bank account is empty. oh God, please heal me because I've got this diagnosis. We're praying from fear and from limitation sometimes, rather than praying from the place of a gratitude and abundance of where we are. And many times those diagnoses are the scary things, aren't they? Many times that empty bank account is the scary thing when we don't see the resources lined up that are going to come in and refill it. Many times the credit cards are maxed out and we don't know how we're going to get out of that burden of debt. Many times we feel alone and lonely. We all deal with these things, right? So how do we prepare for those uncomfortable conditions in our life to more eloquently, more easily handle them? This is why it pays to have a meditation practice, in my opinion. It's your insurance policy. It's your insurance policy to be ready when life throws the curveballs, when things happen, when we bump into the other 6,999,000,000 people out there, right? That don't see life the way we see it, that don't believe the way we believe, that don't think that this is wrong or that's wrong. And we do, and we get upset by it. Our meditation practice is that which can help us to stay grounded and prepared and centered so that when we face those challenges, we can more easily respond to them. It's like the Roman philosopher Seneca said. He said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. I know y'all all thought Zig Ziglar or somebody else said that, but it started back with the Roman philosopher. And again, this meditation is your insurance policy to help you be prepared. It's luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. If you are prepared, and the opportunity, even if it is negative opportunity in some condition that shows up, you're prepared. You're prepared. So let us look now at some practicing our principles this week. I've only got a couple for us today. And the first one is to become a first responder in your life. Become a first responder in your life. If something happens to me and there's an emergency, I want the first responders, the medics, the fire, whatever it is, to be well trained, to have had some continuing education, to be physically fit, and to be prepared, right? To be prepared. And that's really the whole definition of a first responder, is someone who is prepared to be first on the scene to offer aid. So being a first responder in our lives is being prepared to respond when the emergencies happen in our life in the form of conditions, when things pop up that bug us. We can be that first responder. And your meditation practice is the way that you are prepared for any problems and challenges that may arise. You practice, you stay in shape, you take your continuing education so that you're prepared to move into the infinite power and presence into whatever challenge arises in your life. And the side effects of meditation are pretty amazing too. We see it in science today, proving that meditation lowers blood pressure, helps us sleep better, makes us calmer. So there's physical side effects, and not only are you prepared, you're prepared to help others. You're prepared to be a responder to others when life shakes them up as well. You're a beneficial presence. The second is mind power. Pay attention this week to when you're in judgment. And again, being in judgment can be difficult for us to notice. It can be difficult for us to notice, but being in blame, we can usually spot that one pretty quickly. Notice when you're blaming others for a condition or effect that's happening in your life. Whether it's personal, professional, national, or international, watch your thoughts and ask yourself the question, is this individual also a child of God? Do they also have free will and free choice? If you strongly disagree with their position or action, take it to prayer and ask for the win-win resolution. Ask for the new perspective. Rather than staying in angst and anger and resistance and doing all of that to your body, take it into prayer and ask for resolution. Ask for a new perspective. Ask to see it in a different way. And when your mind starts screaming, why me? Why do I have to be the one to do the work here? Why can't they just change and make my life easier? Anybody's ego say that? Yeah, of course it does. What is that? We're back in Kingdom 1 again, right? We're back in Kingdom 1 again. So recognize that that is victim and that you can move into Kingdom 2 by me. That's the first step, by me, because you can change your thinking and change your response to that. And then begin to surrender that through me. Allow Spirit to work through me. Both of our principles today require a little bit deeper work, don't they? A little bit deeper work. A willingness to take our spiritual practice deeper and to merge into the one, to merge into the oneness, into love, and connect powerfully there. Still building your personal relationship with God, still dating God this year. We talked about that last month. Yeah, it requires us to go a little deeper in that. A little deeper. So I want to close this today with one last quote from Ernest Holmes. If we would look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other. We must look away from the differences until we penetrate into the unity of the whole. Love alone reveals love. Hate but hides the gleam. Love is the presence. Law is the way it works. We are surrounded by and immersed in both of these. The impulsion and propulsion of life are one life. This life is God. This life is my life now. So it is. Shall we pray? So just breathing into the one, we recognize that there is one life. And that life is God. It is the power and the presence of the universe. It is all that is, was, or shall be. It is the infinite intelligence and wisdom. It is peace. It is that peace that passes all understanding, so deep and so rich and so wonderful. It is harmony and order, and it is love. And all of it is here, now, in, through, and as me, as an individualized and unique expression of it. I am those qualities of the divine. I am that harmony and order and intelligence and wisdom. I am the joy and the peace. And as I know this for myself, I know it for each one of us that is gathered here this day, coming together in the one, as these individual and unique expressions of it, filled with the power and the presence of the universe. And so I speak my word for and about each one of us this day, knowing, claiming, and accepting the absolute perfection and wholeness that we are as manifestations of the one. That we are individualized and unique expressions of it, here to do our work, gathered together in this community, in the oneness, to be expressions of God in the world, to come from that place of love, to be love in the world. To recognize the personal power that we have in utilizing this thing called life, this thing called the law, the propulsion, the impulsion of the universe. Recognizing that that is that which guides and guards us as well. So this week we come from love. We be love in all of our expressions. And I know for anyone that has anything on their heart they were seeking prayer for this day, that it is lifted into the consciousness of this prayer, and that healing is revealed, that divine order is restored, that abundance is circulated, that love abounds. Whatever the need, I know that it is resolved in this moment, in this conscious awareness of the power and the presence of the universe that is present right here, right now. And so it is with great joy, great thanksgiving and gratitude that I just simply release this into the action of that law, knowing that it's already done. The word spoken is the word made manifest, and we affirm it together by saying, and so it is.